Welcome to the program, the Forum on Canal de English, and our guest today is Rosaline Fonkwa Munjongi. She's a businesswoman, a film actress, and now she has left and she's on the other side. She is a film producer. With her, we are going to talk about her business, why did she get into film acting, and also decided to leave film acting and decided to start producing. Please do not go away. Once again, you are welcome on Canal de English and the program, The Forum. As I announced at the introduction of this program, our guest is Rosaline Fonkwa Munjongi. She is a young woman, and in fact, she's a businesswoman. And just a day to Women's Day, or the Women's Day, we are happy to have a woman here who is not just a woman who is at home. She's trying to contribute her own fair share in the construction of this nation and helping her family. She's a businesswoman, an actress, and now a producer. Please, it's a pleasure to have you here on set today.
Thank you.
How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Whenever I see you, I'm happy to see you here.
Okay.
Now tell us, because I began by saying that you are a businesswoman. And what type of business do you do?
Right, I own a home care agency back in the UK. So I employ a lot of people to work with vulnerable people in their houses. So it's like a recruitment agency. So that's what I do in the UK.
In the UK, and
yes.
You are Cameroonian, I guess.
I am Cameroonian, and I do employ a lot of Cameroonians as well.
Now tell us, because most often those who are abroad, they don't succeed as you have, to have an industry or a company where you employ fellow Cameroonians, you pay them monthly. How did you start to have an industry there or a firm in the United Kingdom?
Right, I think it all starts with determination and ambition. So the UK is an amazing country. It offers a lot of opportunities to people who want to do something. So I obviously started, like everyone, I went to the UK to study a degree in business management. I did odd jobs like most people, and I decided that I have to do something about my life and I have to make a change in the community. So I then decided to take the bold step to set up my own business. I'd worked in many other organizations and had got to management level. So I thought I'd got to the point where I had to do something for myself. So that's how myself and my husband decided to set up the business. And we've been going more than 4 years now, and it's successfully, thank God.
Good. And now when we have somebody from the diaspora in the United Kingdom, with all the changes there, I would like to ask you some questions politically in the United Kingdom, like this Brexit story.
Yeah.
You have a feeling, we have a feeling that people who voted for it, they did it simply because they were against immigrants. And now as an immigrant, how can you compare before and now in the United? What is the atmosphere currently there?
It's a bit difficult. It's a bit difficult. Obviously, a lot of the people I employ just want to work, and they're not really overly bothered about whether we're in or out. They want to work, they know what they want, they get on with it. But in terms of employment, we find a lot of difficulties recruiting foreigners now, especially people from Europe, because things are getting a bit difficult. And this is how it's affecting the ability to provide a lot of diversity in the staffing. So I hope it doesn't make a great difference, but we just try to do our best to make sure that we concentrate on the people who just want to work, who have the skills, and we do what we do.
Okay, and at those, because when you talk about Europe, because sometimes I think some people in the United Kingdom had a problem with Eastern Europeans, that they're taking all the jobs of the Brits.
Yeah.
Do they have the same approach when it comes to non-European, that is Cameroonians, Nigerians, and Pakistanis?
In my experience, I haven't seen that. I haven't heard people complain about other immigrants. I know the main problem has been with the
Eastern
Europeans, because obviously when they come in, they obviously charge very low for the jobs that British people used to do, and it kind of undercuts them. So I think this is where the main problem is. I don't think there's so much of a problem with us.
Okay.
Because we get on with it, we kind of integrate into the system, and we do what we do. So I think the British people are more unhappy with
the East Europeans. That's
job-wise, yeah.
Yeah, quite paradoxical. Yeah. Now, let me ask you a personal question before now leaving that aspect. Now, on a personal basis, you are a businesswoman. I want to believe that you share the point of view of others like you. Were you for or against Brexit?
Right, that's interesting. I actually wanted to stay in the UK.
Okay.
To stay in Europe.
In Europe?
Yes.
So you were not...
I did not want to. I wasn't for Brexit at all.
You weren't for Brexit?
I actually voted against.
You voted against?
Yes.
But you respect the wishes of those who voted against,
of
right?
Of course, I do respect the wishes of those who voted against. I mean, personally, I voted for because I voted to stay in Europe, because of what I benefit from. I offer training to my staff as well, and a lot of the training I get is European funded. So I tend to worry about what's going to happen to all of that funding if we're no longer in Europe. Okay. So I have to think strategically. You have to think strategically. Now let's come back and to another, because you did not just find yourself in the UK, you come from somewhere. Yes. Okay, now explain to us, in Cameroon here, where do you come from? Right, originally my dad is Bamileke from Bameka. My mom is Eton from Obala. I grew up in an English system. I went to English schools, went to Seka Baptist College, went to University of Boya. So typical English education. So this is, I think I'm a proper Cameroonian. You're a proper Cameroonian. Yeah. Right. Now, as a proper Cameroonian, you are in a kind of dilemma right now, right? Now, where do you stand? Now, there is a problem in Cameroon between what is happening in West Cameroon and here in East Cameroon, and you have an Anglophone background or training culturally. Where do you stand? I choose not to comment. You choose not to comment, right? Good. Now tell us, what you studied in English. Where did you do your university education? I did it in Boya. I did English and French in Boya. Then I went to the UK and did business management and IT. And IT. Yes. Oh, great. Now tell us, were you at the University of Boya? Yes. Now there is this, I don't know, a kind of debate that the best crop of students were those who came from 1993 to 1998, if I'm not wrong, and that these ones I kind of adulterated UBA. What is your UB students? What is your own perception on that? Right. I can only comment on what I experienced. Yes. I haven't been to Boya a lot to know what happens there. I know that in my time, UB was still very fresh. Boya was still a village, and we didn't have a lot of exposure. We had fun. It was a lovely place. We enjoyed it. Looking at Boya now, I obviously can see why there's a lot of change, because the town itself has changed a lot. So obviously, if you call it adulterated, I'm just, some people say it like that. Yeah, but I want to mean about on the quality of education. Do you think that is still the same, or it may have dropped or increased? I don't know. I wouldn't be able to comment on that, because obviously I don't know what happens now. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now tell me, you are into film acting, right? Yes. And you have even migrated from acting, you are now into producing. The question that everybody would like to know is that, first of all, what really made you to go into film acting? Right, I would just correct you. Yeah. This is my first project, and I've acted in this project. Oh, really? Yes. Producing and acting at the same time? And acting at the same time, yeah. So what actually motivated me into getting into this is because I'm normally a very charitable person. I love to do things for people, and I love to be the voice for those who cannot speak up. I've done a lot of other charity work, and I've even done charity work in Cameroon sent by organizations in the UK in the past. So I'd put it to sleep. Then I had an incident that came up, which I thought I had to do something about it. I had a young girl who was a victim of abuse within her family setting.
What type of abuse?
She was sexually abused, and because of...
By whom?
By a family member.
Okay.
Yeah.
The father, the cousin, the brother?
Her uncle. So I saw the consequences of the abuse, I saw the consequences of the aftermath of it. And unfortunately, because of our culture and the way we perceive abuse within the family, we try to cover it up. We don't care about the victim, how they feel, and the victim suffers. And talking to people, I've had to talk to a lot of people who have actually suffered worse cases. So I said to myself, this is serious. I can imagine this girl. I can imagine what other girls are going through, or other boys are going through, and they're not able to speak because the family won't let them talk about it, because they're trying to protect the family reputation.
Are you trying to tell me that those things are common, but because people want to protect the reputation of the family, they are not being exposed?
I have unfortunately discovered that they're very common, because before I decided to do the movie, I kind of did a bit of research, and unfortunately, it's very common. It happens a lot, and we families try to protect the family image. We try to protect the reputation. We try to protect the person who's done it. We don't want people to know. We try to protect the victim, which obviously is not protecting them by not wanting to deal with it. And a lot of victims have suffered very serious consequences. So I've thought about it, and I said, these people, these girls, these boys who've been abused, they can't talk. No one's going to let them open up. They're told to shut up. So I said to myself, do something. So I was thinking, what do I do? What can I do? I actually even thought of writing a book, but I said, is it going to get to the people I want this to get to? So that's why I eventually decided to do a movie about it. So it's like an awareness thing. And I was lucky, I met a friend who was doing a movie, and they did part of her movie in my office. So I got to meet the director, and I got talking to him. So that really gave me the motivation to go ahead and do this. So the main aim of this is really to bring it up. Let's talk about it, raise awareness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is that the reason why the title of the film is Breach of Trust?
Yes. So I think it's very powerful, because obviously most of the time it's people who are in trust positions who eventually take advantage. So that's why we decided that it's going to be called Breach of Trust.
Breach of Trust. And then have you had a kind of feedback when it was broadcast, or when it was, I guess, publicly broadcast?
Yes, I've had a lot of feedback. Interestingly, in my cast, I've had two people who were actually victims, but they had not spoken about it. One of my actors actually came to me crying that, Rosaline, this is my story. I hadn't spoken about it. So it really moved me, and it motivated me to just go ahead. I said to myself, this is the reason why I have to do this, because people don't talk about it. People are too scared to talk about it. They're too embarrassed to talk about it.
And now when you have a case of one of your actors coming up, opening up to you, is there any chances of the author of that type of abominable act to be prosecuted, or what?
In her case, she said she was able to deal with it from within. She said her dad obviously had issues.
So that was a problem between her and her dad?
No, dad himself had issues. He had issues of alcoholism.
Yes.
So she said she eventually came to terms with the fact that dad needed treatment, and dad eventually got treatment. So that's how she was able to deal with it. But victims don't have to wait for people to deal with their problems. Victims have to be supported when it's happening.
If I understand, in that case, it means that it was a dad who was abusing the daughter.
Yes.
And the daughter now seems to sympathize with the dad, trying to say, okay, justify what the daughter was doing.
Yeah. And since I put it up on Facebook and on social media, the response has been enormous. I've got people calling me, people sending me messages, unknown people, everyone saying, this is great. You're actually touching something that a lot of people don't talk about it. So it just makes me feel very happy and very, very determined to spread the word.
Okay.
Yeah, my main aim now is to spread the word.
Okay, now, so Breach of Trust, when was it produced?
It was produced end of last year into January. We finished filming. Actually, we finished filming in February.
In February?
Yes.
Just fairly recently?
Yes, yeah.
And do you have any other project that you are planning?
Yes, this project has actually inspired me to do more. I've created a page called Telling People Stories.
That's on Facebook?
On Facebook.
Telling people
stories.
Yes.
So this page is what I'm going to use. I would talk about people's stories, and what I'm planning to do is to do films based on people's stories. So what I'm going to work on next is another young girl story.
Okay.
So that's to be confirmed with my director.
And what is the story of that young girl? Because you seem to you are mostly focused on social issues that is kind of taboo.
Yes.
And now, tell us a little bit about a young girl.
Right. Young girl brought up by her mom and dad. They break up eventually, and she is brought up by her grandmother. A lot of poverty, very difficult conditions, and she goes through a very, very difficult life and a lot of challenges. So this is basically what it is about, and how she overcomes this, and whether she overcomes it, let's just wait and see.
Okay, and when is it going to be watched by the public?
I'm hoping before the end of the year.
Before the end of the year.
Yes.
Now tell us, you know the film industry of Cameroon and certainly neighboring countries like Nigeria. Now, do you have can you make some comparisons or maybe some propositions so that Cameroon's own film industry should also have the same maybe vibrancy like that of Nigeria, for example?
Right, the first thing I've got to say is, before I got into this project, I did not know a lot about Cameroonian films. I had not watched a lot of Cameroonian films because I was not aware that there were a lot of Cameroonian films. So I think that is the first problem. For us Cameroonians not even being aware that
we have anything.
That we have a lot of Cameroonian filmmakers, we have a lot of actors and actresses is a problem. So I think that should be the first step. I think the Cameroon film industry needs to be promoted a bit more. We tend to watch a lot of other country films like Nollywood. I see a lot of things on something magic.
Africa Magic.
Africa Magic, yeah. But I haven't come across any Cameroonian films. And when I did my research, I noticed that there's a lot of good Cameroonian films. I've watched a few and I'm quite surprised. I'm like, whoa, Cameroon's got this quality.
But what do you think Cameroonians or the Cameroonian film producers can do in order for their films to be watched? Perhaps not like the Nigerian, anyway, at least that if you watch 2 or 3 Nigerian films, you can at least watch 1 Cameroonian film.
I think more collaboration with the external countries would be good. Especially, I mean, Nollywood is quite established. I think if we collaborate a lot more with them, all the other African channels, if we could get contacts, collaborate a lot more with them so our films can be seen, because it would be amazing to see the good work being seen by everybody. I mean, another thing which I noticed yesterday, I was watching TV. Yeah. I was watching TV into late, and I watched 2 Nigerian films.
And if I may,
one after the other.
And what was that, the channel where you were watching?
I think it was CRTV.
CRTV, yes.
Yeah, so I would love to see a mix, Cameroon,
Nigeria.
Yeah, it would be good to see a mix. Yeah, to promote the filmmakers as well.
If you have your film, bring it here at Canal do English.
Okay.
We'll happily broadcast it for you.
Okay.
It will be very good.
That would be good.
Now,
yeah,
as
thank
a
you.
film producer, as a woman, if you have an advice that you want to give to the Cameroonian government, to Cameroonian actors and actresses like you, what will you say, or what advice can you give them?
Yeah, I would obviously encourage the Cameroonian women and the Cameroonian actors to carry on doing what they're doing. They've got the talents. They need to try to look for work elsewhere, not to concentrate on the same thing. They should market themselves as well elsewhere so they can be known. That way, the Cameroon film industry goes out as well. We don't necessarily need to take the films out. We could also have actresses out there making the Cameroonian name known and making the collaborations easier. At the moment, I know we have a Cameroonian actress who plays in Nigeria, who is very popular. So we need more of those kind of
collaborations.
Yes, collaborations. For the government, I'm not sure what happens at the moment, but I think there should be more support out there for filmmakers. There should be. I'm not aware if there's any cinema hall in Cameroon. I know that they were closed. I'm not aware if they're open, but I think if we're going to grow in the industry, we should have a way to show it to the public. So we shouldn't only rely on channels. We should have distraction for people. They can go and watch the films in a cinema hall. So I think if the government can give support in that area to help filmmakers have their films viewed by people.
And how long will you be in Cameroon, or you are going after this back to the United Kingdom?
I am unfortunately going back, but I'm coming to Cameroon more often now. I'm enjoying my Cameroon.
Okay.
Yeah, and I'm planning to come here more often.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Mrs. Rosaline Fonkwa Munjongi, it was a pleasure having you here, and feel very free whenever you are in Cameroon, you are with Bea, and whenever you are in Cameroon, feel free to come here, and if there is anything you think we can do for you,
okay,
we will be very willing to help you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay,
Yeah.
It was also a pleasure to have you here on set today. And that was Mrs. Rosaline Fonkwa Munjongi, who is a businesswoman, an actress, and also a film producer. Please stay tuned on programs on Canal de English. Coming next will be Pidgin News presented by Michelle Foncha.